Welcome back, guys. Just Mike here. Anyway, on this video I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do a mainspring cleaning. I take the mainspring out of the cylinder and put it back in. So let me get you started here, show you what I've come up with so far. So on this mainspring, I've already taken it off this here, but what I usually use, I use the pliers. This one here is curled. And I'll hook it in here and give it a twist. And sometimes if this is really greasy like this was, you have to use a rag to hold on to the barrel, and it'll twist and come right off. Let me show you the teeth, or whatever you want to call it, in here. Let's get a little closer here. So these are what grab that gear and hold it in. They're all around on this thing, and that's the first thing you gotta do, is pop that out. The next thing you have to do is, let me get some gloves and I'll show you. So what I normally do is I'll start pushing this out. And this is going to boing all over the place to a certain point. So I'm slowly getting this thing to come out. This is unwrapping as I'm going. And I'm twisting as if I'm winding it, kinda trying to loosen it out of the barrel. Once I get so far, see this here? Now it's going to come out easier because it's coming out itself. This is really oily, and it's greasy too. Now I'm at the end. I don't know if you can see that. I got terrible lighting because it's nighttime, and I need to push it off of there. So I don't know if you can see that or not, where it was caught, and this is the end that catches that. Now the next thing I plan on doing, let me back up here a little bit. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set this in the cleaner. Let me get this untangled here a little bit. There we go. I'm going to put this in the ultrasound cleaner. Now this here spring actually looks pretty good. I don't see any wear on it or anything else. But the clock hasn't ran for quite a while. I bought it off of GW, and it's just evidently sticky or whatever. So I'll run this through the ultrasound, and then I'm going to take a rag with WD-40 on it and clean this the best I can. I don't have a shop. I got small areas you can see around here, and so I can't totally show you how I do this, but I'll do the best I can. But let me get these things cleaned up. Okay, I ran these through the ultrasound and washed them in Dawn dishwashing soap, and then I went ahead and besides rinse them, I dried them off real good with the hair dryer, and realistically these actually look pretty clean. You do see some filming on here. I'm going to go ahead and still use WD-40. I just have this lightweight scratch pad. It must be generic because it's different colors. And I'm going to fill this with, let's say, WD-40. And then I'm going to go through and scrub these the best I can. And remember also, these springs are crammed up in this little barrel here. And so these things will end up with a memory that's not good. You need them to want to open up. And so when you're cleaning them, you're actually taking that memory out of them and straightening them out as you go. You're not forcing them straight. That's just part of the cleaning of it. And that's what's going to help your springs. So let me get rid of one of these and let's get to it. So I'm not going to be able to show you the best in the world, but I can show you part way what I do. You can see I've already cleaned one spring with this. I just squirt this thing with WD-40 and it's going to possibly start dripping. That's why I got the paper here. Set that aside. And what I'm going to do is just start cleaning this. And some of this will look like rust. I guess that's not really rust. What that is old oil that's on here. And this is going to help clean that old oil off. You don't want to bend your spring. And you're not going to be able to get clear to the center because it's just too tight and your fingers won't want to go in there. So after I get this all done, I'm going to use a cleaner. I'll show it to you as soon as I'm done here. I think it's denatured alcohol, just to try to clean this up, get the oil off of it and whatnot. The WD-40 is a cleaner, but it has acid in it, and that's what's going to cause this thing to start corroding again, and you don't want that. And I'm going over this kind of quick, but like I say, my spring actually looks pretty good compared to a lot of them that I've seen. This paper has a mind of its own. It's been bent that way. So as you see, it's getting to where I'm almost not able to get in there anymore. That's about it, I think. So after I'm done doing this, I'm going to go over it with a paper towel and try to get the WD-40 off before I actually use the cleaner on it. And you can spend more time than what I've done on here to clean your springs real well. I don't think you necessarily want to use steel wool because steel wool does cause fine scratches, and that's not one thing that you don't want. You want this thing to slide as nice as possible without hanging up, and make your clock run 8 hours, 31 days, whatever your clock happens to be that the spring you're working on. It's vintage but denatured alcohol. That's what I'm going to use on here to wipe it down before I put the actual mainspring, we'll say oil on it. So I rag Isn't quite dripping, but pretty close. They call this mainspring lube. Now, back when I bought this, 'cause I've had this for a while, they have different weights of oil for different springs. I could never understand all of that, so I just got one that would pretty much do everything in my opinion. So I've already used this rag before to spread it, so I'm going to use this again. I just get some on there. Get that cap back on because you know I'm going to dump it otherwise. Just get the rag good and wet. Like I say, it's already kind of soaked anyway. And what I'm going to do is just start spreading it on here. It's a little hairy when you don't have much room, but it still works. So it's got a nice, we'll say a thin coat. I mean, obviously I can make fingerprints in it. And I'm going to go ahead and, probably don't need it, but I'm going to go ahead and coat the inside of the barrel with my rag. So now the next thing, make sure you get this turned around the right way, which is this upside down. Let's turn it around. And you have that catch in here that has to catch into. Sometimes easier said than done. I got the spring started in there, and there it caught. I can't show you because this is the difficult part, where you have to slowly turn this in, and you're pushing the spring down as you're going. And because my hands have got the oil on, the spring's got the oil on it, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it can be done. Maybe it's a good thing that I'm not doing the other one right away. Give my hand a break, clean the other one while I already have this one wrapped and ready to go. So you're bending the spring per se to fit down into that groove, or not the groove, but the barrel. And holding on kind of tight so it doesn't take off on you. And of course you're doing the spring at an angle because you can't do it any other way to get it back into the hole or the barrel. Now as you're rotating this, obviously you're pushing down with your thumb. That's important because this thing will come right out at you if you're not doing that. So we're getting right down to the last of this. And at the end, you're going to shove that spring right down in there. See, it wants to take off on me. Just gotta take it easy, slowly but surely, you'll get it in there. And there we go. So this isn't down far enough yet. As you can possibly see here, the spring is up over these notches have the spring down and these little jaws, make sure they have clearance in here, because otherwise the gear or the teeth the gear with the teeth will not go on here, because this spring has to be down. So here's the gear that goes on top of it, and I don't know if you can see that or not, it looks like rust that's still on here even after I ran it through the cleaner, and I scrubbed it with Dawn dishwashing soap. Like I say, that there very well could be moisture, or it could be the old oil or whatever on there. I didn't take WD-40 to it or anything else. It's just fine. Anyway, this is what goes over this. And here's those teeth that you got to worry about, this going over. And also, to get this back in here, normally it's out of round, let's just put it that way. And so you have to finagle this over each one of these tabs. Whichever way it wants to go on, I don't care, just go on. There, we got over all the tabs. The tabs are sticking up. And now what I normally do, get them going, and then I have my pliers. They have to be the curved ones, and what I try to do is get a hold of this plate and turn it, but you're gonna have to make sure each one of these, it's going in, and you might have to push down on them in order to get this thing to start going in. So the most part, it's in. All of them have started. I can't twist it anymore, even using the pliers. And so in time, as this thing's winding up and winding down, it's going to have the force that's going to make it come into where these teeth are that are holding this gear in place. So I hope this helped you a little bit on cleaning the barrels of the mainspring, taking the mainspring out and putting it back in. And there's a good chance that if you look down below my video, I'll probably have a couple different links there, maybe, of other people who have done it that I've learned from. So anyway, I thank you very much for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe because it's free. And also, if you'd like to leave a comment just to say hi, that'd be fantastic. If you have a clock project you're working on and you want to let me know about it, I enjoy listening to other people's stories, and hopefully successful stories on their clocks and what they're up to. So anyway, until next time, thank you very much for stopping by, and God bless.